The views and opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293CX 106.5 FM Courier Communications Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
The views and opinions expressed in this program do not reflect those of Wisconsin Voices. The views and opinions expressed by host and guests are their own, and their appearance on the show does not imply any endorsement or representation by Wisconsin Voices. Thank you for listening to Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org
and learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Oh, gosh. You should not have used that name, like, for multiple reasons. One, that's my family last name, surname, Adams. And that is the exact last name. And that is the exact last name of one of my ex-girlfriends. Oh. Yeah, I'm like, with no relation. And there's 3 different Adams families here in Milwaukee, but yeah, 4. It might be 4, yeah. It's
common name.
I think I only know one. Oh, keep going, Brian.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, that was funny. She said of all last names, she said that. Well, good morning, y'all. It's good to be back on the radio. Brian Sanders, lead organizer for Wisconsin Voices. Happy Monday.
All right.
And I am Tamika Vukovic. I'm Akeem Vukovic.
All right.
It's a brand now. I've been married almost 20 years. It's a brand now. Co-executive director of Wisconsin Voices. Hi, all. Good to have everybody back. What y'all do this weekend? Let's talk about the weekend.
The weekend.
Let's start with Joe Dre. Joe Dre, how was your...
I had a weekend. It was a little stressful, but got through it. I am extremely happy to be back with my work family here in Milwaukee.
We've been giving him mess all morning. Oh, did you miss us this weekend? Yes.
It's good to be back by the radio.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
He came in the door of the office and all you did was look and you could see and all you saw was like steam coming out. And it was like, then he smiled at Nicole. It was like, hi, Nicole. Hi, Tamika. And I'm like, hi, Joe.
A little tense today, but
what's good?
Yeah.
Weekend was cool. I had to celebrate a milestone birthday, and I went over to Ohio.
OH?
Yeah, IO, huh? Yeah.
Weren't you there?
Yeah.
Weren't you in
My aunt Doris Green, my granny's sister, her older sister, celebrated her 90th birthday. Yeah. So yeah. And Doris is so sweet. She was one of the first Black nurses in the Cleveland health system. Like she's a big deal when it comes to, nursing, and just to see how good she moves and how responsive she is, man. I posted a video on Facebook and people was like, she's 90 years old. I was like, when I seen her, I just glow. She's always been the sweetest woman, and she always had the most beautiful spirit. Like, yeah. So yeah, I was happy to see her and my cousin. I seen some cousins from Chicago, another group of cousins from Chicago I haven't seen in a long time. The Harbor family, which is some family that's from the McCallum side. So it's a big Mississippi thing, Chicago thing, Cleveland thing this weekend. So it was good connected with some of your grandma's side of the family that you really don't see. And it was me, my uncle, and my granny rode down there, my auntie. And I just wanted to shout out my auntie and my granny and my uncle for just having such a great energy on the road this weekend. My uncle, me and him always go back. He might be listening right now. Me and him always go back and forth about something, but we always, we smooth it out. And then my auntie be there to make sure that we are holding it down. So it was nice. It was good. It was a lot of driving, and I'm still tired just because the heat was crazy this weekend.
It was.
I didn't party this week. Tamika, I didn't party this weekend. I didn't party. I was the youngest guy.
You do grandma right. Every year. So it's so funny. My mom is in her late 70s now. And every year my mom is she's a retired pastor of a church. So, good Christian, Pentecostal pastor.
Mhm.
And every year my husband calls her up and wishes her a happy birthday and then says, "So what club we finna go to?" And then one day she bust out, she's like, "Let's go to the strip club." She was
boy.
joking, but we all fell out like, "Ma." She's like, "I just
You got you on
can't."
speakerphone.
I was like, "Okay, Ma, go get with your bad self."
Yeah, we had a bad time because it wasn't that crew this weekend. Me and my uncle used to get a hotel room downtown, but because WWE SummerSlam was in Cleveland, the rooms was like 500 and up for the night. I'm like, what? No, I guess we're gonna be at the family house this weekend.
Wow.
How much?
500 a night because WWE SummerSlam was down there. You know that pay-per-view experience, the wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was.
People actually still watch it?
My uncle said the same thing when we was talking about the rooms.
I remember when I was little, went down to I call it the Mecca still,
Yeah.
and I saw Andre the Giant and the Crusher, and it was like in 70 something.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom took us down there, and it was AWA wrestling, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And then my brother was into Hulk Hogan and somebody, and all those Piper. What is that?
Rowdy Piper.
Yeah. And then after that, I thought it was done, but I guess not. And then there's that guy who always does that hand thing. No, he does the hand thing in front of his face. No, it's oh my goodness, he's bald and he's been in a couple of movies. He was in the John Cena. There you go. That's it. See, and then that's the only couple people that I know.
Yeah, The Rock was running in from the late 90s to the early 2000s.
Then there was the British Bulldogs. I remember that was back in the day, but those are my boys.
Hollywood always snatches one or two wrestlers every 10 years and turn them into superstars, and then they be Hollywood action film. But
a lot of these people, like I was watching this weekend, and I know we get into our current events, but there's a lot of reality stars who end up doing different jobs. Like for instance, Sean Duffy. Remember, he was on MTV, The Real World, and I think it was the season, this first time they were in New York.
Okay.
And he was a congressman for the state of Wisconsin for a long time.
Oh, that's cool.
Then there was there's a guy from Big Brother. Now he is a commentator for a a news show. There's a lot of people. There's comedians who came on. I remember, what is that? What is not the real world, but Road Rules. The Road Rules.
I like the Road Rules.
There was a couple of guys from Road Rules now who have either comedic careers or they have podcasts or something. So a lot of people do come out at that one chick from Love Island. She has a big brand now. She was so cute.
Man, you better take, all right, if you got something going on and you can keep it after one of them shows. Somebody from Milwaukee, I went to high school with, when she graduated, she was on America's Next Top Model, probably like, maybe 6-7 years after we graduated from high school. And when she was going through that America's Next Top Model, I told her, I was like, ooh, don't blow up too much where you can't, you don't want to, see us. But then she kept going up. She got a part on Empire, and she was on Empire as one of the DJs. And then she's able to use that from Empire and America's Next Top Model, really America's Next Top Model, and she was promoting parties, getting paid for that. So yeah, you can find your niche.
And then there's our what is his name? Our American Idol alum. He's a partner in Wisconsin Voices. He does
Montreal Kane.
He's on American Idol and came back and still does a lot of stuff around, but came back to his home and started his foundations to help with mental illness. So speaking of mental illness,
So we were talking about, we got just a few topics with, of course, current events. But one thing is, I seen that they were talking about just the mental health and food insecurities affecting both rural and urban youths in the state of Wisconsin. And I know we talk about all of that food and connecting and what's going on, but, just seeing this article this morning saying how it's not only are students or kids in the city not getting proper nutrition. You starting to see it affecting the youth outside of the urban areas as well. Uh, and that was surprising to me because you never really think about what's going on in the rural areas. But yeah, even Joe, I know you coming from a rural town, you probably even just back that up with seeing like some of the youth there probably not in the proper nutrition that they should.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about, poverty, and we talk a lot about the inner city, but it's effective in the small towns and the rural towns as well.
Yeah.
I know that back in my hometown, there were a couple programs that they provided lunches for kids during the summer. But one thing that I found interesting when I moved to Milwaukee was that if you go to a grocery store in rural Ohio, a lot of times the food spoils very quickly.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been on the shelves a lot longer, and it doesn't make sense because we're right there in the middle of farm country. Well, how do you not have this fresh food?
Right.
Well, a lot of that's being shipped out to the cities and then back to the rural areas. And by the time it gets there, for instance, you would have a bag of potatoes that would spoil within 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some issues there. And then, in my hometown of 7,000 people, there's one grocery store within 25-mile radius.
So that was, and we talk about food deserts in our community, in the urban community of Milwaukee, but even just hearing about food deserts, and you're right though, if you think about it, in the rural communities, you can drive out for all of us, all 4 or 5 of us sitting here, Jermaine included. We've been out in the rural areas, and you're like, man, how long before we get to the next spot where some food?
Right.
25 miles. And then that's the grocery store. And just imagine if you're the person that stay on the opposite end of that county, or whatever it may be, a parish, whatever country, whatever city or state you're in. But it was saying, and thanks for that, Joe. I appreciate that because I didn't even think about that part. So the release of this 2023 Wisconsin Youth Risk Behavior Survey report last week confirmed youth mental health crisis is intensifying and not diminishing. This is reported by Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. So the dire findings from a survey of 1,882 students from 42 schools in spring in 2023 persisted across the region of the state. Regardless of a teenager living in the city or the suburb, some key factors were magnified by mental health concerns or lack of school belonging and connectedness, which have steadily declined over the last 5 years. Increasing hours spent on social medias, which we talked about that. We always talk about how the kids are doing too much in the social media, which is tying into their mental health because they're seeing things that they shouldn't be seeing and experiencing things that a lot of us didn't see until we got into our latter 20s and 30s. Just going into that, it says, which cuts into crucial sleeping hours, which lack of sleep, we already know what that do for all of us here, and a decreasing sense of school safety. So Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, which conducted the survey, identified the following groups of teenagers as generally reporting fewer supports and more challenges: female students, students of color, students with physical disabilities or chronic health conditions, students receiving special education services, students facing food insecurities, i.e. hunger due to lack of food at home. We know what we do down here, and we see this on a day-to-day basis. Students have moved many times, 4 or more. How many times have we seen that? LaToya, we talked multiple times and had people that we had to try to assist. I just told you about a story with a friend of ours and a partner of ours with her brother. Already they're going to have to move. Technically, they probably already moved twice this year already. We know for sure it's going to be twice because they don't have nowhere to go right now. And students who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, LGBT, or transgender. And then also students with low grades, D's or F's. So this was what they've seen in this 2023 survey. I'm curious to know what the community thinks about that. And Tamika, what you think?
Here's the thing. I mean, I was on the Glendale River Hill School Board for a very long, like 7, 8 years. And people thought that we did have a pretty high free or reduced lunch, but they weren't all the Black kids.
Mm-hmm.
It really wasn't. Nicolay had a high. Nicolay is one of the richest school districts. I mean, they spend roughly $20,000 to $21,000 per student, and they had lunch issues. My daughter went to Milwaukee College Prep, the one on 36th Street, from K4 through 5th grade. And I remember a couple years in that they had this great lunch program. But what they would do, and I remember like fighting them, because what they would do is they had an assembly in the beginning of the thing, or beginning of the day.
Yeah.
And they would serve lunch until the assembly started. Then they would shut it down, even though there was plenty of food left. They would shut it down. And I because I'm a jackass, I should say, I started complaining because I was watching these kids cry because they were hungry. Then they did this thing where at least they would keep it open until after the assembly. So they had one row of, of chairs that these kids could sit in as they were coming in. Cause I was finding out I'm always late. Everybody knows that I'm always late for the most part, but it's not the kids' fault that their parents are making them late so they can't get to school, because most of the kids either walked or were dropped off at that particular school. They didn't have bus service. So they can't help that. So if their parents are doing everything they can, but it's either I'm gonna be late to work, this kid gonna be late to school, you ain't gonna eat until lunch, and I know they'll feed you lunch, but he can't concentrate when you hungry. How many times as adults we be trying to work and we get through it, but and especially Latoya, if she is hungry, she is crabby. She'll be like, well, I gotta eat.
She gets
hangry.
hangry.
She gets very hangry.
It's like one of my best friends.
But think about this. If you an adult, a grown adult, then lived life, had kids, all that, and you can barely, get through without eating. What are these kids doing? And we want to know why they ain't. Your energy level. It's right. And then the other part of that was your brain needs fuel to move around, to develop, to just think. And that's why I be talking, because I didn't eat breakfast today. So I'm just like, woo. But how do you, as an adult, we can deal with it? We have the right, we can go and get something, even if it's just a little snack. I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube and stuff about these two issues, where it's kids sleeping in class and kids hungry. And those two things are huge issues. And one teacher said he would let his kids sleep in class. And at first, all the other people would be like, why are you doing it? Why are you not doing this? But here's the thing. He said he let them sleep through class. He woke up even after the class and went to gym or whatever, music. And he woke up and he was like, why didn't you wake me up? He's like, well, just go ahead. So he went in. He was super productive all day. And then he just took a recess to get him caught up on what he missed in that class. But he went and found out this kid has a mom that's sick. He had to take care of his younger brothers and sisters, get them ready for school, help them with their hunger because they're younger. He was in like the 5th grade. They were in the 2nd and the 1st grade. He had to help them with his homework, get them food. And by the time he puts everybody get a bath, he's exhausted. And he has to do his homework. And then he comes to school and he has to get up earlier just to get these kids ready. So that happens a lot because we have, different dynamics in families. We can't blame the parents all the time. It's our system, it's our society, whatever it is. Parents are doing what the best they can for the most part. Not saying all of them, but I'm saying most of them are really trying to do what's best for their kid.
Catch Wisconsin Voices via Voice Radio every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. as we focus on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices via Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org. Wisconsin Voices 3 pillars: protecting democracy, teaching advocacy, building community.
They have filed a committee to recall 4 of the school board members. Now they're trying to recall 4, and then there's one person who resigned, and that I guess it's just one person on the ballot for November. So that, and I have to apologize. I do not know his name, but it was nobody running unless somebody puts in a, write-in campaign to run against him. He will, and that's due the Friday before the actual election. Other than that, he will be the person and I apologize to him. I had it on a piece of paper and now I lost it. But let's talk about these recalls. So they want to recall, and I'm going to butcher some of these last names just because I'm going to butcher some of these last names. But it looks like this is what they're accused of. The reason, it says, for the following reason or reasons related to the official responsibility of the officials sought to be recalled. First of all, and I think, let me just double check to make sure that they're all the same and that they have all the same violations. I believe so. So this is for all four of the people that they were trying to recall. Violation of the annual financial report requirements. The board failed to file its annual financial report with the city clerk and did not send a copy to the report of the report to the state superintendent as required by law. Then it says abuse of power and neglect of elected officials. It said A, and this is as A through I, withholding information. The board withheld critical and pertinent information from the citizens of Milwaukee, preventing them from making an informed civic decision. B, uninformed decision-making without proper education. The board member passed items without being properly educated or informing themselves. C, non-disclosure of financial standing. Failed to disclose the true financial standing of the district. D, misinformation about referendum. Misled citizens about the $252 million referendum despite having predetermined plans to make staff cuts to fulfill commitments to the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. E, ineffective evaluation. Failed to engage in through an effective evaluation of district leaders, including but not limited to the superintendent. F, poor report submission. Failed to review and submit quality reports to the DPI, risking millions in dollars in funding. G, inequitable funding allocations. Failed to allocate funds based on the needs of the school and students with the greatest needs. H, poor customer service. Displayed a lack of quality customer service, including unresponsiveness to open records requests and complaints submitted to the board. I, violation of governance rules. And this is Board Rule 3.1, Code of Ethics, Board of Directors. And it says 2, Board Rule 3.02, Code of Conduct, Board of Directors. And then it goes to number 3, which is unethical and illegal financial activity. And then there's 4 under that. A, superintendent and board fraternization. Knowledge of the previous superintendent and board members' fraternization and unethical hiring and placement decisions based on relationships rather than skill and ability. B, unjustified fund transfer. Aware of district funds being transferred between budget accounts without public knowledge or justification. C, harmful audit. Harmful audits of building, finances, and transportation budget due to board members fraternizing and exchanging favors with the superintendent for personal gain. D, unethical negotiation practices. Knowledge of unethical or illegal negotiation practices between the board, the superintendent, and collective bargaining units, such as the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. And E, retaliation practices, aware of retaliatory practices by board members and the superintendent against district leaders and employees who engage with school board directors or other district leaders. Now, those are the allegations or the reason why they're being recalled. And I'm going to try to pronounce these names. The first one is District 1, Marva Hinning. Then there's District 2, Erica Siemsen, Siemesen.
Same, yeah.
What is that?
It look like Simpson or
Yeah.
Simpson.
District 2. Then there's Jillian. Oh, and this is, I'm sorry, Jilly. I do know her. Jilly is Gokalgandhi. Got called Gandhi. She's in District 5. And then the last person is Missy Zambor, which is the citywide. You will thank you. I don't know.
I believe that was Marva.
Marva, I think, is the board
Yeah,
president.
she's the board president.
Miss Missy just got on. We have a call. We have callers. Go ahead, caller. Let me see. Oh, well, he's getting it prepared. So these committees were filed. And these committees is MPS, school board recall, citywide, and then it's District 1, District 5, and District 2. Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, you read off a lot.
And we're not making judgment. I'm
No.
just saying and we will probably make a judgment later after we know more information. But this is what these petitioners, and let me read the petitioners' names because they're different. There is a petitioner named Shantia Davis, and she is a petitioner for Marva Herden. There is a Tamika Johnson for the petitioner, and she's the petitioner to recall Erica Simpson, and that's District 2. And Karia Lynn Phillips, she is the petitioner for Jilly. And again, I apologize for the last names. And Nicole Johnson is the petitioner for Missy Zambor, which is citywide. We just want to get all that information out there. Got a caller? Oh, well, they decided not to call. So, this is interesting. And because one of the other things that has been brought up is, and it was brought to my attention that the city council could have taken the whole board and dismissed them and reappointed new people. Now I was like, that can't happen. I mean, I really was like, no, that can't happen. But I was informed by my mayor, Mayor Kennedy, and he showed me the information that up until I think the 80s, all school boards were like that. The city was the fiscal agents, or a lot of them were fiscal agents. And then the laws changed, and the only person or council that is in charge is a Class 1 city. Well, we have one Class 1 city in the state of Wisconsin, and that's Milwaukee. So Milwaukee Common Council could have done this. Now, whether they do it or not, that's their decision, but they do have the power to take the board and, dismiss all of them and put a new board in. But they have chosen to have these people do a recall. Let's go to the call lines. Caller, go ahead.
You're on the air, caller.
Maybe does you have it up? Caller.
Oh,
Turn your radio down and then we can be able to hear you.
I get on the highway. I call you.
Us. Sounds like we need to disconnect that caller.
Yeah, I think he is
Thanks for calling on that.
Highway.
Sound like on the highway.
he's probably trying to do two things at once and didn't realize that we had pulled him already. We have another call. All right, so 414-444-5250 and 414-444-5253. This is interesting because I do not like to criticize other board members. I'm just going to say I was a board member, so I don't like to criticize other board members. But there is, and I know Glendale River Hills had a issue with the budget as well. There has to be transparency, and I believe some of these rules need to be changed because a lot of times school board members can't say stuff. Sometimes school members should say stuff and they don't.
Well, be a recall. They wasn't elected until 2020.
Yeah, 1 year. That's all you got to do is 1 year and you can be recalled.
But I mean, would they initially be a part?
Yes.
Board members, so would they be initially a part of the problem?
These are, yeah, it could be not. She's got to do that case. She has to build her case. Anybody that's been on the board a year can be recalled. I don't know what they did. If these the only people that are eligible for recall, I believe that's true. That is the case. I think they're the only ones that are eligible for recall, but they're recalling everybody. Now she just has to, what she has to do is state her case. Like, if she wasn't part of the decision making or anything, look, I just got there. That's going to be her case to make. But these are the ones that they have decided is going to. They're putting the recalls out. Is there a caller? Okay, their phone is ringing off the hook, but nobody is saying anything, or we don't know. So I apologize.
Reading a quote from Dr. Tamika Johnson, one of the individuals that's involved with the recall. I mean, like you said, you were saying with everybody on there, she just says on here, they were the ones who were over the years played a huge role in deception. Like, even though you said that person on there for a year, I don't know if they just feel like that person who just got there for a year should have been speaking up more and they were, in cahoots. But, like you said, they should definitely be defending themselves if they weren't directly involved with, withholding information to the public or to the families of the MPS students.
Well, I don't know about that. Caller just said that I should Google the name so I can sound them out correctly, but phonetically they're not on Google. Yeah. And when you phonetically even do my last name, it's not right. So I apologize. I will find out how to pronounce these names, but it wasn't intentional by any means, shape, or form. So I apologize to the caller and the viewers the listeners that I did not get these names right. I have 2 of them right, 3 of them right. But regardless, that wasn't necessarily the whole thing. The reason that I'm bringing this up is this is a big recall for people. And usually this happens in the suburbs. It doesn't happen to a tier 1 city or a class 1 city, which is, like, again, Milwaukee is the only class 1. But what will happen? I think they're collecting signatures now if they haven't.
Yeah, they are. Just because one of our former canvassers has reached out and told me that they were working with MPS Collaborative and collecting signatures over a month ago.
Yeah, so they've been, and I'll look to see 60 days of these being filed, and So these were filed June 25th.
Yep.
Well, the one,
I believe high altitude.
so this one, and this one is again, yeah, June 25th. Let me see if they all were done at the same time. No, it looks like they're all different because it looks like Missy Zambor, it looks like the registration for her recall was submitted on June 25th. The citywide, it looks like the one, and then the one for Marva Herden, it looks like that one was signed on July 27th. I'm just going by Erica Simpson. Looks like it was signed on July 29th. And then the last one, which is for District 5 Jilly, this one is 7/29/2024. So so I don't know. And some of these petitions are different dates. So I don't know exactly what day they're going by. Most of the paperwork for the state, it looks like it was all signed on June 13th. And but then each of these committees, and it looks like maybe the committees were formed because I think you have to, once you spent over $2,000, then you have to form a committee, but they must be getting money in, receiving money, or spending money.
And I seen too, just another quote from her. The lady was just saying, like, there's no political agenda behind it. It's just that, this is just community members that are tired of what's going on, just to make a clarification. So.
And I don't think anybody that are professional, I mean, like electeds or anything thing like that are getting involved with it. This is just people, and I don't know. I mean, we got a caller, I think. Go ahead, caller, and we'll go back to it.
Go ahead. Head. It's all about the head.
Go ahead now.
Good afternoon, then. All right. Well, Miss Tamika, Miss Latoya, Mr. Rideout, Mr. Scarvey, Mr. Carvey, Mr. Joel, Mr. Brian.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Tyrone W. speaking. Good afternoon or good morning, Milwaukee. Tyrone W. speaking. The petition that's going around, it hasn't made it to me yet. But if it has anything to do with the people that gave Aisha Carr a hard time, we'll hurry up and get around this way, and I'll sign it for any of them that's getting booted out the door there, because that was definitely wrong. And have a taste of your own medicine, and I will gladly sign it then. But yeah, so that's, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. And if those are the people that helped push her out the way, then they're right back at you. Then I'll gladly sign it. So I'll get out the way. I'll chat with you more on the weekday. I just wanted to haven't talked with you in a few days, but I was telling Mr. Rideout, I'll take some beer battered northern pike, walleye, or red snapper. Carp and catfish, they're scavengers, but it's kind of rough. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was good. But,
it was delicious. Scavenger or not, it was good.
Give me that northern pike, that walleye, and that red snapper, and I'm good though. But we'll talk though. You didn't call me Latoya, but I get with you though. I get with you, Latoya.
All right.
I told you how to get it. I told you to get it. Call right there.
That's between y'all and off the radio.
We'll have to. I'm gonna break the mattress.
So let's. Well, thank you so much. We got another caller. Caller, you're on your head. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Well, good afternoon to you all.
Good afternoon.
That school board thing. In in a perfect world and not a democracy that we live in, I guess that would be okay to let the government take the vote out of the hands of the people and do it themselves. After all, they just did that to us with this. They just did it to us with these like in the city. They deprived the people of voting, and they took it over. So in a world that we could trust our government to do that, I guess that would be a good idea. But I just have to be totally honest with you. We need to keep that in the hands of the people to make those decisions. And I hope the recall actually has some teeth to it, because you can do a lot of stuff and it's nothing more than a paper tiger. It looks good, it sounds good, emotionally people are angry, and they do things like that. Then it goes nowhere. After that, it falls back into the same folly that it was once in. But anyway, I'll be looking forward to jamming to y'all music tomorrow. If that's still gonna be good, I think me and Michelle will be
Why
in
you
that.
why you telling what our business is on tomorrow? You don't need to tell our business tomorrow.
Oh well, you know what? I think it should have been announced, because I think it's
But it
I
ain't
think
all
it's
the
a
way
big deal.
finished,
But I
solidified. You
appreciate you.
don't play in my shows,
Well, no, I'm not playing
Mister
that show
Mister
for you.
Reed. I
I'm
will see
sorry.
you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow.
It's not about. I was just announcing that.
I know you were
perhaps
announcing, but
I'll
that
be in
ain't
the
that for
studio
me to
with you
do.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you know what? It's a privilege to sit next to you.
Oh, you ain't. I'm sitting you on the other side.
Well, I can't sit next to you.
No. I will see you tomorrow. Let's go on to. Let's go back to. Wait. Oh, you hung up. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one thing he did mention that is, I thought was key, because he said, let it go to the people. Now, the only reason I mentioned that is because some people are saying that the Common Council should have acted. But I think he has a point in the sense of Common Council are 15 people. It's 15 districts and they're 15 people, where you have these people who are putting accusations about the board. Now they have filed, and now they're saying, let's do what we need to do to get these people recalled. Now they have to get the signatures to do that. And that is a whole district, that is a whole citywide thing.
Please join Wisconsin Voices every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We will be focusing on community partnerships, voter education, and long-term collective impact for all Wisconsinites.
You're listening to Wisconsin Voices Be a Voice Radio. Follow us at BAWI Voice and learn more at wisconsinvoices.org.
The 3 pillars of Wisconsin Voices are protect democracy, build community, and teaching advocacy. Go to wisconsinvoices.org to learn more about Wisconsin Voices and our partners, and to stay up to date on all community events. If you like and want to support Wisconsin Voices and the work that they do, please click on the donation tab. But this was something that came up relatively, and I only wanted to talk about the process more so than anything else, because that process is long. First, you have to, file, then you have to get, how many did you say that each I know there's for Mandy or Amanda. So for Marva, Marva, what's her last name? And I'm not familiar because my kid is out of school. She needs 5,137
signatures.
Erica Simpson.
She needs 6,809.
Missy Zambor.
She needs 44,177.
And that's because she's a citywide. And then it's Jilly.
She's 7,759.
How much?
7,759.
And these are all districts, and it's a certain percentage of the district that they need to collect for. So,
Based on the size of the district. Yeah.
right, it's based on the size of the district. I feel, here's the thing. I feel for the kids and the parents of MPS. If this is proven that now some of it is correct. They did not file their reports to DPI in a timely manner. That's something that is known, and
It's concerning.
Yep.
Same time, you just were out campaigning for a referendum to get $250 million for MPS. So how do you know you need all that money if you want to do your financial records?
Oh, anybody I think that's worked with state or federal or local government, we know that when there's money involved, there's reporting that's going to be due. You always have to report on that money. It's just an accountability thing. It's all about accountability and checks and balances. So those reports, although they seem mundane and repetitious, they're very important.
And they were withholding from them not having those reports in. They were withholding like special education aid and
so they withheld the Head Start or early child development funds because they did. Now, according to what I've heard and what I've read, they were still able to do, make sure that these kids got these services, and it should be corrected, but I'm not sure if it has been yet or not.
Yeah, I remember they were saying at that time that they were able to get those services all the way through the month, whatever month that was. Was that earlier this summer? Yeah, yeah.
Maybe withheld due to missing financial documents.
Okay, so yeah, I remember they were saying that.
So I think they got through the summer. They were going to at least get through the summer.
Okay.
And we're almost through the summer. I mean, school starts probably, within the next few weeks here.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see some things start rolling, some movement on some of these things so that they can have their everything in a line before school starts. Because we want to see these kids have a good start to the school year.
Oh, no, wait. Caller, go ahead.
Hello?
We need you to turn your radio down.
That's what I'm doing. Thank you.
And then, and if you could possibly, if you're on speaker, don't be on speaker, and then we can hear you really clearly.
Right. I'm on the phone.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
So first of all, I think that if citizens are unhappy with their government, they certainly have an opportunity to try to recall people. And I think it should be up to the citizens. I would hate to have the city council make that decision for me. I want to vote for my school board representatives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just and I wasn't saying that we should or should not do that. I'm just saying that this is one of the options that I heard through an interview or something where they were talking. This was an option that could have been done. But again, I think by the people, for the people, the people will decide. There was some petitioners who decide that this was it. Now they have to get people to support.
Right.
And if they don't get enough people to support, then that means that they're okay with the school board.
Okay.
If they get enough people to support this, then it will go into a vote. And then these people, the people who are recalled, can state their case and make their case of why they should be on or should not be on. It's not that they're getting off right away. It's a process.
Right. Okay. From what I've heard, and I've talked to a number of people, from what I've heard, this whole situation is very complex. The budget is complex.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's some lessons that have been learned by the school board members and everybody involved. However, from what I've heard, there is no evidence of any wrongdoing by the school board members to profit from any of the money. There has been no evidence of that. From what I've heard, there are a number of things. Vacancies in the Department of Finances, not enough people to do the work, and getting people for certain jobs is very difficult for the pay that's offered. I heard that the state changed their computer system, which made it very difficult to get some of these reports in.
Well, and
I listened to the man who resigned, and he said he didn't know where to put the information.
And ma'am, another thing. Wait, hold on. I'm so sorry that we have literally 30 seconds. And then because Al Sharpton gonna jump in, but please call back again.
The board member whose name you were trying to pronounce, Marva Herndon. She's been my representative for years. I've known her. I think she's honest and fair.
The views and opinions expressed on this show do not reflect that of the staff and management of WNOV and W293 CX 106.5 FM Courier Communications Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
The views and opinions expressed in this program do not reflect those of Wisconsin Voices, but are those of the host and guests of this particular show, and their appearance on the program does not imply any endorsements or representation by Wisconsin Voices. Thank you for listening to Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Be a voice.
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 Visit WisconsinVoices.org. Visit WisconsinVoices.org.
Visit WisconsinVoices.org
And learn more on how to be a voice with Wisconsin Voice.